according to my watch, 6:28 anyway, so we're fine. I think we're good. Well, actually, according to my phone, it's 6:30, but we won't split hairs.
I just got hay on the 80-acre section. Well, the lady that asked me about the thing is not here. Out there to Emmett's.
Yes, I'm very sad.
Well, there's Kenny.
But not to say that it doesn't, it's kind of my favorite.
Right, and it kind of hits you, but at the same time, as you said, you're going,
Well, she's been gone for so long.
yeah, that's
She's just been gone for so long.
my grandpa went through it.
You know, it's awful. I pray God spares me from that. I really do. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call this meeting to order. We have a quorum of the board president, so if you would please stand with me for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm calling the meeting to order. We're good now. Okay. Okay, I assume that all of the members of the board received the minutes in their packet in advance and have had an opportunity to review them. Are there any revisions or corrections? Otherwise, could I hear a motion to approve?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Or minutes, sorry.
That's all right. Okay, so first on our agenda tonight is, we've approved the agenda. First, here, lost my agenda. Oh, there it is. Is a public hearing for minor plat MIP 24-02. Brian Wilson, on behalf of the James Wilson Revocable Living Trust, is requesting approval of a one-lot minor plat. The property is located immediately east of 11662 West State Road 42 in Adams Township and is zoned agricultural. So, Mr. Wilson, you are here representing yourself? Okay, Scott, I have you signed up in support of the petition. Would you like to come and give us some remarks, please?
All we're doing is splitting the park.
I don't think our mic is on there.
Can you talk more into the mic?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can. Okay.
We were just splitting the farm between the heirs of an estate.
Okay.
That's all we're doing with this. I didn't know what all you need from me.
Yeah, we have most of the information in our packet. Does anybody have any questions there for Mr. Wilson? Questions for Mr. Wilson? I don't have anyone signed up in opposition of this, this hearing. So, Mr. Wilson, if that's all you have for us?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I would see if, are there any staff reports or comments, Laura or Mark? Okay. Questions from the board? If not, then I would close this public hearing, and I would open the floor to the board for any remarks that you might have.
I have none.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing none, then I would call for the question. Does someone have a motion? We have,
I move we approve MIP-24-02.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, with a motion and a second on the floor, then I would call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
6-0. Okay? Okay, next on our agenda is a public hearing for minor plat MIP-24-03. Holloway Engineering, on behalf of Terry Johnson and Randall Adkins, is requesting a 6-lot minor plat. The 38-acre parcel is located on the northeast corner of Watson and Kitchen Roads in Madison Township and is zoned ag. Okay,
Thank you. I'm John Larison. I do have a few things that I would like to hand out to you. First of all, I want to give you an amended plat on which we've made a couple of corrections that the county surveyor asked for. And also, I'd like for you to have in your hands a look at a topographic map. I have a feeling we're going to talk a little bit about drainage tonight, so.
okay.
Thank you.
Papers there, John.
Excuse me. Jesus. Wait till I get back from the next county.
Thank you, John.
Thanks again. We are back here with this property for a second shot. If you remember,
Get closer to you there.
if you remember, we were here about a year ago with the same property together with the property to the north. At that time, we were proposing a roughly 30 lot subdivision along with a rezone from ag to R1. This plan is significantly scaled back, as you can see. This is a minor plat. We're proposing no new roadways. It is only a 5 residential lot subdivision. We've got a 1 lot remainder of 22 acres that will no doubt remain agricultural. That is lot 6. You can see that we've got 5 nice-sized 3-acre lots, 220 feet in width. That will yield approximately 150 feet between houses if they're 70 feet wide, which is a nice wide home. So we do anticipate about 150 feet between homes. We feel like that will blend in well with the rural residential nature of the area. To the north, we've got Staten Place. That is another addition that we actually did the original platting with John Moore on in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. The nature of that subdivision was 5-acre parcels. Most of those parcels have been divided at least once since then. A few of them have not been, but on average, Staten Place averages about 3 acres per home site. To the south and to the east is Laurel Ridge. Holloway Engineering platted that in the late 90s, I believe, maybe early 2000s. Those are 1-acre parcels. where we did actually do some street design and building, and again, the density is 1 home per acre. So we sit right in between those two divisions. We feel like we've got a good plan, five homes for roughly 39 acres. You know, if we waited 10 years to develop this and wait for sanitary sewers, we could probably swing for the fences then. I know that the county government in general and your comprehensive plan calls for homes. The general feeling seems to be that the county would like to see a lot more density on this property. I don't know if the neighbors are aware of that. I would therefore caution the neighbors to be careful what you remonstrate against, because what comes later may be 75 to 80 lots per 39 acres. So we're here with a very modest plan. I hope that we can get approval for this tonight. Again, we're not here for any rezone, just the minor plat approval.
Okay.
I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Mr. Larison from the board?
How's the water there?
We've got a rural water line.
Okay.
It does have Eastern Morgan County rural water pipeline on the property.
So you won't be using any groundwater wells,
No,
so it will be a problem with the septic systems.
no. No. And we've got 3 acres, so more than enough ground. If the first septic would happen to have problems, we'd probably have room for an additional one and possibly 2. So I feel
Well,
like
see-
we've got that covered.
See, the water's going to flow down towards Watson Road anyway.
Yes, it is.
Lot 3,
Yeah, generally away from the lots themselves. It all flows to that outlet on the south end. But in general, it flows westerly and southwesterly, away from those home sites. You know, the drainage might not be perfect now where those 5 home sites are because of the way the row crops are put in, et cetera, but,
this is up in my area, so that's why I know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
More than,
I think with very minimal ground disturbance and the establishment of a good residential yard with 22 feet of fall across the property, it's going to drain.
yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay, any other questions from the board for Mr. Larison? Okay, you also have someone else from Holloway Engineering signed up?
Well, I'd just like to introduce all of you to our new administrative assistant, Rhonda Bloom.
Oh, very good.
She took Lisa Hollett's place recently. Lisa joined the Martinsville government in some capacity, so Rhonda is our new Lisa.
Oh, very good. Nice to meet you, Rhonda. Nice to meet you. Okay, very good. Thank you. So
Thank
no
you.
comments. You just want us to meet her? All right. We have several people signed up to speak in opposition to this petition. John Taylor, are you present and do you have comments for the board?
Thank you for hearing me. I lived just north of it. Before this property was divided in half, I wasn't aware of till somebody told me tonight, so I haven't looked it up. And it'd be a shame to put a bunch of houses there and then have the county have to come through and buy them to change that road. They were gonna cut the 90-degree out and go at an angle over to where Watson and Kitchen come together. My concerns are the septics, because it's clay. I have not had a lot of trouble with my septic, but I only have 3 fingers that are working. I've lived there 12 years. I do run out of water in the summertime. Have several neighbors north of me that don't have water. That's a big concern. You start digging and disturbing what's going on up there. Again, the water. When we were here last year, we talked about schools, we talked about fresh water, even the water line, the neighbors in the additions that's there that have city water coming by don't have enough pressure. I'm on a well, like I said, I run out in the summertime. The school system, and then sewer. I mean, if they don't go with the septics, last year we felt like, or everybody that was here felt like we need a sewer system eventually to carry the load of whatever housing went in there. My concern is if these 6 plots are allowed, then they're just going to come back and add more on the northern part, and then that's going to get the numbers up. And there's, to my knowledge, there's no determination of what can be built there on that property. It could be a double-wide home. It could be a $500,000 home. I don't see any determination on that unless I've missed it somewhere. I will leave the rest to everybody else. Thank you for hearing from me.
I have Spencer Taylor also signed up. Okay. Do I need to have him come to the mic? No, we're good. Okay. I would love to tell you I know this next name, but I can't really read it. I think it's Mr. Gilbert, Milton Gilbert. That's incorrect.
You're correct. Sorry, that's about 36 years of writing traffic tickets. It gets kind of,
Oh, I thought your mother just didn't teach you good penmanship.
no. I learned a long time ago, when you're handing someone a $150 ticket, if they can't read your name, they can't cuss you out as you walk away.
I'll keep that in mind.
How you gentlemen doing this evening? Here we are here again, talking about the same piece of property. Same concerns. You're gonna hear a lot about the drainage. You're gonna hear a lot about the septic. You live up in the area, you know right now, these fields are a swamp. They don't hold water very well. They do hold water, they don't drain at all. I'm right there next to the property. It's right across the street from me. You know, when he says Lot 6 is gonna stay agricultural at over $500,000, what farmer's buying that? I can't afford it. You know, most of you have been farmers. Can you afford $25,000, $26,000 an acre to buy a piece of ground to grow some corn on? I can't. You know, he kind of did the whole boogeyman, hey, if you don't approve this, you know what our next one's gonna be, because the county's gonna get behind us and we're gonna put 75 homes in there. One of the concerns we have is this is a gatekeep property. The other gentleman already brought up, we're not talking about the one to the north that they've already plotted out. We'll be back arguing about that. When you approve this one, our concerns also is the 300 acres just south of that. What's gonna happen when that goes up? The 1,000 acres just south of that down at Centenary and Watson, or Centenary and Kitchen. So this is a gatekeep property. What you approve here today is kind of set the tone for what we're doing. Our roads can't handle this. You know, we have a water line out there, but I think you're gonna hear some people talk from some of the housing additions that their water pressure is not that great. The fire department, you know, had trouble filling their tankers off that same water line. So now as we start adding these homes, there's 6, there's another 6 north of it. So when you approve this one, maybe they come back and say, oh, now we can get 12 in that other one, because we can do a lot of 3-acre plots in there. So that water's now an issue. Traffic on the roads, we can't handle additional traffic because we know what's getting ready to happen when that 69's opened up and they try and straighten everything out and we're a straight shot to Henderson Ford. All that traffic just stacking people in there. And all you gotta do is take a little drive down to Bargersville. What does that look like now, putting all those houses in there? You know, some people may like it, some people say, hey, we need it. Okay, can build more in Johnson County. You know, build more in Hendricks County. Why does it need to be here? You know, I can sit up here and talk for hours about the concerns that we're going to have with people coming in. You know, in their literature, they say that, you know, there's no control over what you build here. You can build anything you want. If you talk to the realtors right now that's selling these plots, you know what they're telling you? This whole process is a done deal. It's just a formality. Spend $160,000 for the 3 acres, we're going to get it passed. It's not a problem. These neighbors don't care. Well, I think you saw a year ago we do care because we had a petition with 600 registered voters in the county that was fighting this. We didn't push it that hard this time because we don't think we need to. I think you're going to make a sound decision. Yes, 3 acres. Yes, you can put a septic in there. But if you go to what they've done in the past and look at Laurel Ridge, let it get dry and you can see every septic line. You know, go in there and look at the drainage issues they had right after they opened it up, when they had to go back in and change all the drainage because of some pending lawsuits and some things they had going against them in Deer Western. So to say, hey, we built this, I'm not real confident in that ability. And the last thing I can remind you is, as a board, you're put in your positions to represent the people of the community. The people of the community are telling you, we don't want this. The 2 Johnson County millionaires, they're who want it. You know, they paid $19,000 an acre for this. They're selling 3-acre plots for $160,000. They're selling a 22-acre plot for $500,000. They're making their money. Is that money coming back into Morgan County? Other maybe it's a little bit of tax here and there. It's going straight to Johnson County. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Mr. Whitehead, Tony Whitehead? Or maybe Miss Tony Whitehead? I'm not a mister, but I'm Tony Whitehead. Okay, sorry.
Hello. My name is Tony, and my husband and I have lived on Watson Road for approximately about 5-6 years. And one of the things that drew us out there to this
Could you
area-
speak a little more directly into the microphone? I don't think it's
I'm
picking you up.
sorry.
That's
Can
okay.
you hear me now? Okay. My name is Tony Whitehead, and my husband and I have lived out there for about 5 or 6 years. And one thing that drew us to our property was the country setting. We wanted out of the homeowners associations and houses sitting on top of us, and that's why we moved out there. And I'm probably going to say a lot of what John just said, but I am a member of the community, and these are the personal concerns that I have. Those houses are going to be right around the corner from me, and I walk a lot out on those country roads in the summer. The water pressure that we have right now is terrible in our house. We've had a new water heater put in, and we still have terrible trouble with water pressure in that area. The septic, we've had a lot of trouble with our septic because the ground in that area is so saturated with water, not good drain off. Also, I would be concerned about the school buses because a lot of people at Laurel Ridge are a lot of younger generation with kids, so that could also bring a lot more kids into that area, which means more school buses and more traffic. They're selling the property at a fairly high price, but I don't think that they're giving any guidelines as to what kind of house you can build on that. So that could very well be take our property value down if they put cheap homes on it. It also just is giving a more opportunity for the other areas, farmland in that area to be turned into subdivisions, and we need our farmland. The roads are narrow enough as it is, and sometimes I have to pull off into the gravel to let a large truck or a school bus or something to go by to begin with, and then you're putting more of that on our roads that we have. I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you.
Rod Whitehead, you have comments for us?
Good evening, can you hear me? All right, I'm probably going to do the same thing as echo a lot of the same sentiments that my wife, you just heard, Tony, and John just echoed. We were here, like you said, over a year ago, or approximately a year ago, and what's strange is the same things are exactly true as we said back then. The only difference is supposedly we've shrunk the size of the development that's going to go in. Instead of, I don't know, 30, 50, 100 homes, we're saying we're only going to have 6 or 5. And to the other John's comments, we haven't even begun to talk about the North Platte. That again, we can only assume right now if we can pass 6, maybe the next time we can pass 12. So it's in that same area. So it's not like a very separated area. The developments are going to be butted right up against each other. So once again, you got the drainage issue. My wife explained, we moved down from Carmel. So I lived in a pretty fluent area up in Carmel. And we did have houses on top of each other. And we wanted to get away from that type of a setting and get to a rural community where we could enjoy the countryside and some of the amenities that go along with living outside of a subdivision area. But with that subdivision, we are dealing constantly with our septic system because of the high water table, because of the runoff of water. I'm on the corner, so I'm a little bit further away from the Watson Road right on the bend there. But that water drains constantly down through mine and my neighbor's yard. And I can't even cut my yard in the springtime until it dries out enough, simply because I'm running through mud and muck. So, I mean, for the people that know the area, know what the challenges are. I'm not against progress. I'm really not. I ran a business for several years, so I'm well aware of the need for revenues and enhancing our communities. But I'm also opposed to haphazardly just saying, let's just take this farming area and just change it from a rural type setting to just another subdivision. That's what makes Mooresville appealing to a lot of people. It's not that we're looking to be, another south side of Carmel or south side of Zionsville. We want the rural community, and the issues that we deal with every day in our community or in our house, in our lot, are constant, and I can only see them getting worse. I would tell you guys, and you can ask my wife on the way down, the one thing I want you guys to approve eventually is I would like to have the sewer system, city sewer system, because I'm tired of dealing with septic issues. So I appreciate your concern, but once again, I'll just reiterate, nothing in my opinion, other than the size of the homes, and we don't even know what size of the homes are going to be, the size of the development is supposedly scaled down on this plat. And John is absolutely right in terms of the agricultural piece. I don't know what farmer is going to spend that kind of money for that, 20 acres or whatever it is for the price that they have it listed at. So I appreciate the time and hope you guys will really take into consideration what the community is saying. So thank you.
Thank you. Vance Minor.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for hearing us. We appreciate it very much. My concerns are like everyone else's. I have extremely low water pressure. You add more on there, it's just going to keep going down. Every time it rains, I got puddles in my yard. I live right next door to Rod. You're going to expand the area. You're going to have more people with more cars. It's barely enough for a 2-lane road down there now. I worry about the water main. I've been a fireman for 35 years. What's that going to happen when you start adding more homes in there? And what kind of pressure? So we got horrible pressure. And I know what fire trucks can do, but you can also collapse a main if it's not big enough. So I wish you would take this in consideration. We do like our community. We like the openness of it. I've lived here since 2000. I was here before Laurel Ridge came in. I wasn't really happy about that, but it's here. So I wasn't able to speak against that, but I am here to speak against this, and I'm voicing my opinion that I don't want this in here for our community. So I think a lot of people, I hope you hear our voices, because our voices are trying to speak to you loud and clear. Thank you.
Angie Turley.
Good evening, everyone. Same sentiment as everybody else. I live on Kitchen Road. My grandmother, Phyllis Scott, owns quite a few acres across on Kitchen Road and just south of this development. We have a ton of drainage issues, and every single time it rains for more than an hour, we've asked the county multiple times to come out, and we've never gotten anywhere. So I have an issue with the drainage as well as our fire department. Our fire department on Kitchen Road is closed. People have to come from Landersdale now. So we're really gonna have to worry about, you know, our EMS and our fire department as well, as, you know, lives. And again, we don't know what kind of houses they're gonna put on there, which is very concerning. Thank you guys for listening to us.
Dawn Horak.
Is it all right if I bring you
Sure.
the copy?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
This is what they're already advertising for those lots.
We need to be sure we have one down here for the record.
I only have the two.
Okay, when they're finished, maybe they can pass those down to us.
And,
You'll have to speak into the mic for us. Thank you.
Again, my name is Dawn Horak. I live on Kitchen Road. I was here last year and spoke about this, and I'm not really certain why they're only presenting the one parcel, but that's what they are, so that's what I'm going to speak to. On this one piece of paper, the top portion is this parcel that we're talking about tonight. In the bottom section of that, it gives the breakdown of the types of soil that are on that parcel, and it gives the acreage and what each breakdown of that is. And the first one is 18.886 acres. It's says poorly drained soil, no basements, severe limitations for septic tank absorption. I mean, this came from the scan PCR, and there's several others. The next one is somewhat poorly drained soil, severe limitations as building sites, drainage is needed. The other is the Crosby Miami mix. Soil has severe limitations to use as building sites. The next one is 7.4 acres, and it says moderate limitations. So out of that 39 acres, 7 acres is basically saying that it could possibly be used for building sites, but the soil still has severe limitations for septic systems. That's what all those properties are going to have. And as everybody has stated, there's been nothing done to alleviate the drainage. I live further down on Kitchen Road, but all that water travels, and it comes down even across our property. And I'm at the back of a property. There's actually 3 parcels where I live, and I'm in the very back, and the 2 neighbors are across from each other on the sides of the driveway. And, I mean, we even have had it to where we have a current going over our driveway, and we probably have one of the largest drainage ditches on Kitchen Road. We've got 2 big culverts that the county came in and put in, and it still runs across the front 5 acres on each side of the lot to where we can't even get out of our driveway at times, certain times of the year, and it's definitely in the spring. So, I mean, that to me is an issue. And again, we're not hearing what kind of houses are going to be built. You guys passed the parcel across the street from this last year. Now we're having several homes that are like pole barns. We thought they'd be normal homes, but they're the metal pole barn buildings so far. So I'm glad that supposedly there's only 6 homes. But I am concerned that, number one, they didn't present the northern lot along with this like they did last year. Number 2, this lot 6 is 22 acres. And what happens if they don't sell that for that price that they're asking? Are we going to be back here again? And are they going to want to put however many homes on it then? That is a real concern. Because I think they're kind of piecing this out to try and wear everybody down on opposition, but because last year, there wasn't even hardly any room in here because there were so many people here in opposition. But that's really all I have to state. I am concerned about somebody buying the property, not being able to put a septic in that will function for them, and the water, even if they have the option of hooking up to the water, you know, what's it gonna do to everybody else? So, anyway, that's all I wanted to say, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Could we get the copies of her handouts passed down here at some point? Just so we're sure we have them for the record. Thank you very much. Got it? Thank you. Mike Plew. Mike Plew in the audience? Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Oh, that's not even-
Hi, I've lived in Laurel Ridge for 22 years. We moved out here to get out in the country and away from city life. Going to mention a lot of the stuff that everybody else has mentioned so far. The one big thing was somebody mentioned the fire station. That got closed this year, so we really have no fire station that's even, you got to run into Mooresville or, you know, Landersdale, which that's not a straight shot. Just to mention other things, the drainage, I know people in Watson up on the S-curve, that's pretty much underwater a lot of the times. The schools, that was mentioned, you know, when we were here a year ago. There is and I see it on here, the gas pipeline that runs under Lot 6. Hate to be the person that builds a basement there. Mentioned water pressure. Even when we first moved out there, I couldn't run a sprinkler. There wasn't enough pressure to run that. You flush a toilet and the water pressure goes to crap, so as everybody else has mentioned, that's the same thing. And another thing that bothers me is no restrictions. I don't know if that's on there, but we've seen it on the realtor's site that, you know, do you put a house trailer on there or, you know, a large house? We don't know. I do have a question, and this may be for the Holloway people, is Lot 6 has a little sliver at the north end. It's like, what, I don't understand why that wasn't like included in the lot. It's probably like a 10-foot sliver north of Lot 2, and it's just an odd shape, so I don't understand how we kind of have 5 lots that are pretty symmetrical, and then something is just thrown out there. And then, as other people mentioned, there's signs out there for the lots that are north of this. I don't know where those came from. If that's another development they're trying to do, but that's all has signs up for sale. So I imagine it's just going to get worse. So I think that's the main things. Pretty much echo what everybody else has mentioned so far. So thanks.
Thank you. Lori Plew?
Good evening. Can you guys hear me okay?
Speak really directly, thank you.
So my family and I have lived out there 22 years, right? We were one of the first houses at Laurel Ridge to be built. From day one, we had drainage problems. I'm not going to reiterate, right? The schools, the roads, the drainage, the septic, all that stuff. I did want to ask a couple of questions. One of them was the new plot or map that you guys got tonight. I don't know if anybody in the room has seen what was handed out at the beginning. Is that different than what we had? It's like what you guys. It's the same? Okay, thank you. 2013, we had a house fire. And water pressure is not just about taking a nice shower or running the sprinkler. Our house was on fire. And so it was vital that those firemen had water pressure to save our home and our cat and our kids. So it's a big concern, and it's a real concern. And then I have two questions. If this were to pass, can those 3-acre lots be subdivided into smaller lots? Because I know someone had mentioned at the beginning that they started with 5-acre lots and then they divided them into 2.5 or 3-acre lots. So that's one question I would have, can those 3-acre lots be further divided? And then, importantly, to me anyways, are the kinds of homes that they're putting in across the way, these, I call them barn houses. I don't know how people are surviving in those things in the heat of the summer and the cold of the winter, but I don't think that's a good look next to $400,000 homes. So I would just want to know, if it were to pass and people start putting homes on these lots, will there be some sort of restrictions or stipulations about what kind of home can be built? So that's all for me. Thank you.
Is everyone I have signed up in opposition? I have some folks who are interested in the petition. Okay, she says they're also opposition as well, so we've already heard from these people, I think. No, Andrea Mendenhall? Andrew, I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's say.
These things, so see how we do. I signed up as an interested party. I'm generally opposed to the idea of it, but it goes a little bit more broad than just subdividing it. It does seem a lot better than last year's, but some of you guys know me from the 4-H community. I'm in Morgan County because of the 4-H community. I was in Marion County. One of my girls will learn about farming. I grew up in the country. Morgan County provided that. So my bigger appeal to you guys is to help prevent the loss of our farms. I think that's an important entity for Morgan County in defining who we are. It's going to be a critical entity, as you guys all know, in the future of feeding our world.
Mr. Mendenhall?
Yes.
Mr. Mendenhill, I think it is that correct?
Mendenhall.
Mendenhall.
Yeah.
We are not picking you up, and I'm so sorry to
Okay.
keep reiterating
That's okay.
that, but we just need to get that
Like I
recorded.
mentioned, I'm not great with microphones, so. So that's just my general appeal. If it says that he's not asking to rezone it, but I don't understand how he cannot rezone it from agriculture and have these minor plots. What's the point of that? So I would appeal to you guys to just help protect our farms in general, keep the agricultural space. So if the 22 acres he's saying stays agriculture and well, how is that protected? How can that happen? I don't know if you guys can write something in the bylaws that says, hey, in the future this can't be subdivided. I guess I'd have the same concerns about the 3 acres. Is next year's strategy to break that down? It was my interpretation last year from talking to some of the people that after a parcel is divided into minor plots, it can't be broken down further. So if that's the case, then that's some reassurance, but I guess the 22 acres, possibly. And that's just a question, I guess, I don't understand. And then similar concerns last year, I listened to the petition for the section across the street. The homeowner said, hey, I promise you that there will be nice houses. We plan on building nicer houses. I don't have the nicest house in the county. It's a humble little home, but I think that it's going to help all of our property value and our taxes to keep good homes there. And I think barn dominium concept is pretty interesting, but that's not what's being built out there. They're really just pole barns. So I think you guys might want to check that out. So if there's a way to put some restrictions or something there, I don't think people have to build the fanciest houses, but I think it will help our county to have some sort of balance there if people do build on them. So that's what I got.
Good, thank you very much. Sherry Cruz or Gary Cruz? Whichever would, either of you want to speak?
I was looking at this map.
Pretty sure we're not picking you up either. You might want to just bring that down a little bit. There you go, thank you.
I would strongly urge you to deny this happening. I lived in this area all my life, 75 years, and my dad and I used to farm this area, and a lot of times we couldn't even get it plowed till June because it was so wet, and nothing has improved since then. This is back in the 60s. And this lot number 1, the corner, the northwest corner is always a foot deep in water. And behind my house this morning, I looked, and there was water standing behind my house where it always does. And we've only received an inch of rain. And I can always tell how bad, if I could go out and work, if I look out my back window and see the water standing. It's just really a discouraging thing to think that we'd have even more water coming our way with pavement, driveways, and what have you. And I was just told that the fire department, which is about a mile away from this specific area, is going to close. Okay? So that puts us in jeopardy of not having any fire department support. I don't know where they intend to build a new one, or where at, or when. But I heard that October it's going to close due to structural problems in the building itself. But that puts us at a big advantage. You're going to have more homes in here to protect from fire, and we're losing a fire department in the area. Now, that's not verified. I don't know for sure that that's going to happen. I was just told that.
I just would say it is closed for the time being. It is
Thank you.
closed.
But it's to reopen?
Comment on that. I just know that it's currently closed.
But I think you can see what I'm talking about. They do a pretty good job with what they have. Those guys are really dedicated, and I appreciate everything they do. But I think you can see where I'm headed with this. If that closes and doesn't reopen, then where are we going to get fire protection? Northern part of the township, I would suppose. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your time immensely.
Thank you. 1 second, we have someone else that came in late that's signing up, I think. And I think we had one more speaker on there anyway. Thank you. Let's see. Gary spoke for Sherry Cruz, is that correct? And Jordy Smith? I don't have a comment, just want to share the same sentiment as everybody else. Okay, thank you. And I have one more person signed up, Mr. Walker.
Hi, John Walker, 579 East Watson Road. We're building out there now. We built a pole barn. We're going to be building a house this next year. In general, I don't oppose what's been proposed, but I do think we should consider what is going to happen with the North 40. This was an 80-acre tract. You're looking at the lower 40. The North 40, there's signs up the road, and it's being soft advertised by the realtor, Lady for Land, and it shows multiple lots. It looks like what they're going to do on the North 40 is a flip side of the South 40. So when we're talking about problems with water and drainage, I think both parcels should be considered at the same time to be able to make sure we have the flow.
So I appreciate your comments on that, but we can only consider what is before us tonight. So I would just remind you of
Well,
that.
then
But thank you for your comments.
I would be more in opposition to this until we know what's going to happen to the North 40.
Right.
And a note on the fire department, I just attended the meeting last Monday night or Tuesday night of the Watson Fire Department, and they're hoping within a couple of weeks they're going to have temporary living quarters there, and they're going to put one engine up there with 3 people. The people on the engine will be EMTs, not paramedics, but their goal is to get at least that one engine there and get protection down there for us while they try and figure out exactly what they're doing to the building. It has code violations, haven't said any, and it's been structurally reviewed by Sumco, who built the building. Structurally, it's okay, it's just got a lot of code violations. Sounds like mostly electrical. So we anticipate the fire department being available here hopefully within the next month.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Ms. Parker, do you have any, I believe that's everyone who has signed up to speak. If I missed anybody, please indicate that by raising your hand. Okay, if not, we'll move on. Ms. Parker, do you have any comments? I have one or two things I was going to just ask you to comment on for us. You want to do that first? Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, Mr. Larison, do you want to come back up and give your comments in rebuttal to the comments that we've heard?
Thank you. We did hear a lot. I'd like to address the plan for the north adjoining parcel first. There is no grand conspiracy whatsoever. I'm swamped, and we felt the need to address this part of the property first, simply because the drainage all drains south and west. It all heads to the pipe under the road down on Watson Road, about midway across the, well, actually just adjacent to the cutout and an existing home in the southwest corner of the property. We will be minor platting that one as well. The strategy to minor plat is...
Parcel you're referring to now?
Yeah, the north
Okay.
property. I don't feel that the client should necessarily be forced to tell you that, but again, there is no conspiracy. As soon as John finishes the plat, we'll be back in for that, but we don't anticipate that probably for another 60 days. So it will be another minor plat. The strategy moving toward the minor plat is simple. We don't have to rezone the property. We don't have to rezone from ag to residential. And this minor plat does meet the requirements for a minor plat in that it's 6 lots. There are no proposed new roadways. Okay, all of the lots meet the minimum for a lot zoned agriculture, and that is 2.0 acres. So the threshold to get the minor plat approved is generally much easier than a major subdivision. It also, a minor subdivision is more indicative of a project that typically you're going to sell larger lots. The grading issues won't be addressed until the homes are built. Each lot owner tends to manage his own drainage. That's why we've included in the covenants and restrictions that all of those drainage ways that serve this property and lead to the south are dedicated as drainage easements permanently. Right now, they have no protection whatsoever. They're just a swale and a farm field. But we have gone to the trouble to dedicate those for use of drainage of both stormwater and subsurface water for perimeter drains. And speaking of drainage, that seems to be the biggest issue here tonight. I've been before you dozens of times addressing this issue. I don't want to get super technical with you because it's exhausting, but nothing drains worse than a cornfield, okay? It's well-known, but well-kept secret, I think. Nothing drains more poorly than a cornfield, a row crop field. water hits a row crop field and just like that. It doesn't have any grass to absorb. The drainage coefficient for a cornfield, I think I'm getting maybe a little bit of a neg.
In the wrong area, you say the cornfield does not absorb water.
Sure.
And absorb water, the only time ground does
Well-
not absorb water is in the wintertime when the ground's frozen.
Sure.
That's the only time it doesn't, so don't be telling me the ground does not absorb water.
Sir, I'm just going
Under
to,
crop.
I'm just going to refer you to Purdue University's 1995 Herpich Manual. Every community in central Indiana uses it, and the runoff coefficient for a row crop field is 0.66 for the 25-year return storm. The runoff coefficient for a residential yard is 0.23 for the 25-year return. Now, while that is just a generic number that really doesn't mean much, it did mean a lot to the brilliant professors at Purdue University that wrote that book that is now used by every single community in Indiana.
That may be true, but we've also heard people say now.
I know it's true.
Wait a minute now, my turn to speak. You asked a question, I'm gonna say what I think about this. I think that a row crop will protect the crop, would protect people south of Watson Road. They've already said they're getting flooded down there. So if you put this in a grass area in the wintertime and in the spring, when they say that the ground is full of water already, grass does not slow down the flow of water. So the people south of Watson Road is gonna get hit with a big wad of water all at once. No. That's what you said?
No. I will tell you that in any condition of the year, and whether the crops are in or not, a well-developed grass lawn will hold and absorb significantly more water than your row crop field.
But if
And
the water's-
if I have to, sir, I will repeat for this plan commission an experiment that we used in the town of Mooresville once, where we brought a cookie sheet with mud on one side and with sod on the other, and poured a gallon of water on each, and let the plan commission see which one absorbed water and which one just ran right off in the ground. I would rather not have to do that, but
No.
I will if I'm forced to.
So,
Everybody says that the water stands in the property there. I mean, so we have water standing in water, so how are you gonna drain it when you've already got water standing there? There's nothing gonna absorb the water other than crops.
No, there are 22 feet of fall from the intersection where Watson Road, on the east side of this property, where Watson Road turns and goes north and then goes east. There are 22 feet of fall from that corner across this property to the pipe under the road. Water will drain across this property effectively if it's managed properly.
John, I really need you in the mic. I'm not picking up a word you're saying.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell, for your questions, and Mr. Larison for your explanation. You have some other comments for us?
Yes, I do.
Thank
And-
you.
Yes, I do. And I'll add that State and Place, in general, doesn't have nearly the fall across it, especially on the south end of it. Tends to be pretty flat. They do have water issues there. It's just a flat piece of ground. We are on a piece of property here, again, that has 22 feet of fall across it. Couldn't be any better for residential development. Now, turning our attention to soils. The majority of soils in Morgan County are Crosby and Miami, silt, clay, loam. We have one township in Morgan County named Clay Township. It's so bad, just like the rest of Mooresville. The best soils, the absolute best soils for septic fields in Mooresville, or I'm sorry, in Morgan County, are in Mooresville. They get significantly worse as you go south and they tend to get worse as you go east. That entire area near Five Points is not ideal. It's not ideal, but none of Morgan County is ideal. I wish that Bobby Knierim from the Health Department was here now. He would substantiate that for you. Instead, he has signed his technical report saying that the Health Department has no objections to the proposed minor plat, and that is from an expert in soils. So why build more in Morgan County? This property has been referred to as a gatekeep property tonight. And anything that you approve on this property will eventually be approved for the next 1,000 acres south. You know what? I agree. The county has identified this area as an area that they would rather see more density and residential. That is right straight out of your long-term future land use plan. I agree. This is only the beginning. I fully respect the gentleman from the 4-H, but it's not going to be a farm field much longer. None of it is. We're 13 miles from Indianapolis, Indiana. It's the 15th largest city in the nation. People are desperate for places to live right now, and some of those are kids that are graduating from college and wanting to come back to Morgan County. And there really aren't many of these types of lots available right now to build one. Finally, the water issue. If there is a problem with the water company, I believe that that's Citizens or AES in that area. The only way it will ever get better is because of more demand. That's the only way that the system will ever draw any attention for improvement. So if you have anything else that you would like for me to address, I'll be happy to. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Will there be any restrictions on what can be built there?
No, there will not. However, everything will meet the county's minimum standards.
And they don't have any price points on the homes, John?
They do not. I will reiterate it. It's not a gotcha moment, but we did have when it was a more dense and more lot subdivision. But they feel like with selling larger plots, they do want for somebody to be able to build a pole barn on it. You know, those types of things as a secondary building. So they have chosen not to include any covenants and restrictions.
Can either you or Ms. Parker potentially address the issue that was brought up about the relocation of Watson Road?
I am aware of a very long-range plan. In fact, on the thoroughfare plan, I believe it's shown as a dashed line running through this parcel. Well, I'll defer to Mr. Hale. There's no guarantee that it'll ever happen.
No. I do think the one that's gonna go north to south, I think you will see Henderson
Change.
Ford eventually hit 144. But as far as the one going east to west, there is some conceptual ideas during the thoroughfare plan, 2 plans ago, I know, but I don't know. It's gonna be a while before that would ever happen. I mean, that's for sure, because I mean, you're talking a bridge over Indian, or White Lick Creek and everything to be able to do that. And I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah. And could either you or Ms. Parker address the issue of further subdivision of these lots, in particular, the one that is 22 acres? Could you talk through the process of that, please?
Yeah, while the plan right now is for that to be an agricultural field, and I'll straighten another misconception out. the fact and the opportunity for that to stay an agricultural field doesn't depend upon being sold.
Right.
I mean, it's being farmed now, and it will continue to be farmed until something else happens, whether that's to a, to a renter or who it is. It may very well be the gentleman who farms it now. I don't know. In order for anything to happen beyond a minor plat on either one of these properties, your ordinance demands that a rezone would have to happen, and then a major plat would have to be filed.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. I just wanted to be sure that the members of the public understood that and that they got a proper explanation of it. So, good. Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Members of the board, do you have anything else for Mr. Larison before we allow him to go back to his seat? Very good. Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time, and I'll open it for discussion among the board before I call for a vote. Have any comments? I'm sorry, I kind of skipped over you now. I did get my questions answered. Did everybody else? Bill, do you have something?
I would like to ask Mrs. Parker a question.
Okay, Laura. You need to come to the microphone for this, please.
Is this township one of the largest population areas in the county of Morgan?
I believe so, yes.
Any rough idea of what percentage of this is, for lack of a better word, subdivisions or houses as opposed to open ground?
Not off the top of my head. Certainly it is becoming more and more dense and has over time because of the area being flat and more easily developed.
Thank you very much.
I think I got my questions answered through Mr. Larison.
Okay. And I wanted to confirm something about the fire department issue and concern.
Thank you.
So I can tell you that last week I had conversations with the township trustee and the fire chief, and they are in fact moving forward on getting some temporary housing placed at that fire station so that they can operate at least one unit or one piece of apparatus. So they are responding to the needs and the concerns expressed by the community. So there is movement afoot there. I do not know how quickly that's going to happen.
Well, I think we're all aware, but I live in that area, there are others of you live in that area, that, that is an issue for Madison Township. It is not one for this board to address.
Right.
But in the longer term, someone is going to have to address the issue of fire protection in the area for sure.
And it's with regard to the temporary road that was shown, or the potential road for the connection, when you do thoroughfare plans, you dream big, you think about future connections, what are possibilities. I know that dotted line is on there, but it's, decades and decades. There's many other priorities besides that one that would come to the surface first and be addressed long before that one. And, again, that line was drawn because there aren't houses there right now. So those lines change all the time, and we'll be looking to update that map again here in just a couple years. So,
And in reality, if there was need for road improvement in that area, you'd have to look at all kinds of different scenarios as to where that road would go. And since that land use has changed, the location of that road could, very easily be changed as well.
so
So, yeah,
it's not definite in any way, shape, or form.
right, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Parker, Mr. Larison? We've closed the public hearing. If there are no other questions of the board, I would then call for a motion with regard to minor plat MIP 24-03. I'll just remind you of what actions we can take. We can approve the minor plat request. We can approve the minor plat request with commitments if there's something that we heard that, and we often do that, or we can continue the minor plat request, which would mean that it would come back to us, I think, next month, correct, Laura? Am I correct about that? So, again, I would just call for a motion on this, public hearing.
I make a motion to deny it.
Is there a second to Mr. Mitchell's motion to deny?
I second.
I'm sorry?
I second.
I call for a vote on the question to deny minor plat MIP 24-03. All those in favor, please signify by saying, raising your right hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Favor and 4 against, so the motion dies for lack of a quorum. Is there a second motion that anyone wants to put on the table to either approve or continue the minor plat?
I'd go ahead and make a motion to go ahead and continue it for 30 days. I'd highly recommend that you get with the builder, or with the property owner, and there needs to be some kind of deed restrictions and covenants restrictions, John. That's just my opinion, trying to stay fair with everybody in the neighborhood.
Very good, very good. So do I hear a second? Mr. Maxwell seconds that motion. I call for a vote on that. All those in favor of continuing the minor plat request for 30 days, please raise your right hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
5, Mr. Mitchell, are you voting? That would be
Denied.
5 in favor, 1 against. Same motion would pass to continue this request for 30 days. So we will see you again in 30 days, Mr. Larson. Okay, very good. Thank you. So we'll move right on in our agenda. Are there any, and thank you all for coming. That really does conclude anything that we would have that, you know, we'd be asking for any comments from the public on. You're certainly welcome to go on home at this point or to stay. We're happy to have you. Before you leave, the next meeting will be April 16th. That is a rescheduled date because of some conflicts from April 8th. So it is the 16th. So please note that, and I'm sure that it will be advertised somehow. April 16th, yes. I'm sorry. Should have done it before everybody left. Do you have anything for us tonight? Okay, and can you take care of that for us? Okay, very good. Thank you. I'm sure you got the copies, right? Yeah, okay, good. And Ms. Parker, do you have any other comments for us tonight? Anything you want to tell us? Okay, so it'll be at least 5 items next month. Yeah, okay, very good. Are there any other comments from the board? Anything that should be taken under consideration tonight?
No. Dana Lynn was wanting to speak, I know that.
Do you have something in your hand there that is in writing that you could submit to us? Mm-hmm. Could you leave that for us, please, to take under consideration?
But I would like to just give a little explanation.
I think I have to defer to our plan director. If she has not put you on the agenda to this point, must be some reason behind that. So make it very brief. Just state what it is, your problem is, and then we'll move forward with that. And I really would like to have your exhibits, please. Oh, it's for the BZA. So there you go.
Well,
you are speaking to the wrong board. we can't really help you.
Well, I believe that you can, because I think that Ms. Parker is one of your technical advisors, and if She is not, she is being railroaded by this company. And like I said, they are taking down, and I will show you this. I will pass this out.
Yeah, can you leave your material for us? And can you please do what Ms. Parker advises, and that is go before the BZA? That's why we have them. They have very long and very technical meetings, and I'm sure they would be glad to hear you if this is a BZA issue.
I understand that, but we also don't understand the severity of this issue, and please just give me 10 minutes.
I just understand that we need to keep before this board what is this board's business. If we can't give you action on this, it won't help you to hear it.
Nothing else, give me 10 minutes just for awareness. You don't have to take action, just let me
We can't take action if it is not a BZA. We just can't take action. So you need to go, you need to go to the board that can take action for you. So I'm sure Ms. Parker is directing you there. We have this information. So, thank you. I'm sorry. I know that it's very frustrating, but we have to keep before ourselves what is our business.
I've been working since May with her, and unfortunately, it's the mining company. They're giving her the runaround.
Okay, all right.
And they are.
Well,
And I have documentation to prove it all, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to listen to me after the meeting, because I don't want to hold you if you don't want to listen, I'm being more than happy to explain it to you.
Vice Chair, I'm Vice Chair of this committee and this commission, and we have one of our commissioners here. So I'm sure Ms. Parker would be happy to share with us what this whole scenario is, and if it is appropriate for it to go on this agenda next month, then we'd be happy to do that. If it belongs to the BZA, then it needs to go to the BZA. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Any other questions from the board? If not, I would call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Favor, did you get them? Jason and Kenny? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand, saying aye.